Alright, so spawning right on top of Underrated Gaming's Aurex, he's going to be the pink Protoss in the bottom right position on Entombed Valley, and his opponent in the top left corner, we're going to have aBstract, who actually just took the game off of the last opponent, so currently 1-0 for Team LaG Gaming. And Havoc, just a spectator, luckily, not the player, so he can actually go ahead and leave if if that comes down to it. Not the worst thing in the world. I think he's a mod, though, so I'm not sure if they'd want to rehost it because of that. W-E. W-E. W-W-E. What is the W for? E's for a probe. Not sure. Well, it looks like he's just going to disconnect out, so for 26 seconds I have to think of something to talk about. How about reminding myself to change the colors? That's a good idea. Okay. No, not that one. Alright, cool. So red versus blue is a much better color scheme, although I wish they could keep the pink. It's not going to happen. But anyways, so it's going to be Protoss versus Protoss. Cross positions, but does that ever really matter in a PvP? It really doesn't. Warpins all around, doesn't matter where you spawn. I can say that Entombed Valley has led to some pretty interesting PvPs before. It was like IEM or MLG or somewhere. It might have even been the Home Story Cup, but that Entombed Valley between two top Protosses, and it went on for like an hour and 6 minutes. Oh, that wasn't as epic as you remembered it, as I remembered it, as you would remember it, I guess I should say. You think about it and you're like, wow, an hour and 6 minute Protoss, it must have been really good. It wasn't. It was mostly just waiting and like occasional drop harassment. So some people give PvP a bad credit for just ending really early, or only being that, you know, Colossi versus Colossi war and ending really, really quickly in one battle, but I kind of agree with them on the Colossi wars. I think it's a little lame. But the early game, where it ends in the early game, I think that's exciting. The players might not like it, some spectators obviously don't like it, but the micro wars in PvP are so cool, and I think it ends up to really interesting games if it's not just someone 4-gates another person and fast expands, which no one does that, and you really shouldn't. If you're a Protoss player, don't do that in PvP. But as you can see, we're going to have pretty much the same openers from both players. I think Aurex is a little ahead right now. His gas finished up a little earlier, but his pylon's a little behind. Behead. You can't behead a pylon. Don't try. But, yeah. Actually, aBstract's now ahead by like 1 millisecond, so that's fantastic. But taking an earlier gas, this is probably just for the fact that he doesn't want his gas stolen. He doesn't want to be forced into a 4-gate slash, does not want to have his build, you know, 10-20 seconds behind. Even more if he doesn't get that zealot out and the gas gets stolen, you don't have a zealot, you have to wait for that stalker that you're waiting for. Oh, it takes forever. You don't want that in a PvP. It's a mirror matchup, obviously, and seconds matter so much, especially if your opponent's doing the same exact build. It turbo does it the slightest second faster, that generally wins, so definitely very important not to get that gas steal, although we did populate it very, very fast, only with 2, so you see we have 2 on 2 gas geysers. It's just a stylistic way. It ensures that you get the gas geyser if you actually need to go up to those 3 per gas geysers, but it's obviously not going to be like a DT rush. It still could be, probably not though. He'd want as much gas as possible if he was doing that. On the other hand, we have 3 guys on both gases for Aurex, so we could see something interesting come around here. KoTH Robo Expand. It's very popular, Robo Expand. One person might go for that blink build, but it's not that great on this. Well, actually take that back. It's not my favorite map to do it on, but it still could create some interesting games if they go for it. I just think that, you know, Ohana might be, you know, is probably the best map for it. But anyways, it could always happen, but it does seem like one person is going to go for those Phoenixes, so this is really cool. Where is it, though? Oh, it's in the back. There it is. So that's Stargate. Could be Void Rays, but I really doubt it. It's probably going to be Phoenixes. He could do a really, really powerful early to mid-game push where he just lifts the sentries and says, hey, there's no force fielding me out, so unless you have units, you're dead. But it does seem like we're actually going to have a 4-gate, no, a 3-gate, no, 2-gate pressure. That's all it was. Kind of interesting that he actually bothered putting a pylon down. Maybe just wanted to really fake Aurex out as he faked me out. you know, and really scare him, but he's not going to do a whole lot with this. The Sentry does get the force field off, which is great. The problem with this build, the Phoenix build, is that you're a little low on the numbers, and Phoenixes in low numbers aren't really going to help you that much when an attack comes. In high numbers, they can take up a lot of units, and they can also actually attack. So that actually helps, rather than just having one Phoenix going, okay, I'm holding up this one Zealot, go get him, guys. But Roman Dragon noticing that the Proxy Pylon's kind of far away, but the reason is because he's not actually putting on any pressure. The Proxy Pylon might come in handy if he really wanted to put it on, but, you know, if he was really just going for the whole all-in, you know, I'm going to kill you right now, it would definitely be where he had it before, right here, or, you know, right here, anywhere over there. But as you can see, he's putting on a lot of pressure. But we're not even putting a lot of pressure, he's pretty much saying, you know, don't go out of your base, I could have, like, a bunch of stuff behind me and you don't even know. So he can, in fact, get the Nexus up pretty early, and well, I think everyone here knows, I think anyone who plays StarCraft for a long amount of time knows that a fast Nexus in PvP can often mean death. So putting on this pressure, saying don't come out of your base is really nice, but luckily for Aurex, he did get those Phoenixes, so he'll be able to scout. He won't be just completely unaware of what his opponent's doing. He'll see the Nexus right now. He sees that it's 75% down, even more so right now, so that's got to be bothering him a little bit. He sees that there's a Robo and 3 gates, picking up the Sentry, the nicest kill he can get. That was actually had a lot of energy. So that was a really nice pick-off. The other Phoenix almost actually got destroyed, but it's too fast for just 4 Stalkers, and the 4 Stalkers are actually sent back. I mean, once it was revealed there was only 4 Stalkers and nothing behind it, Aurex was pretty much just like, alright, you know, get out of here. Let me put down my Nexus, and we'll have to see how Aurex is going to make up for this whole really early Nexus from aBstract. If he pushes really, you know, if he pushes now, or really, really soon, he could do some damage, catch him a little off guard. Obviously, now that he's expanded, he has this ramp to contest. So that's a lot more force fields if he wants to defend. Or he can try and just come back with an economy. That's going to be really difficult, but he does have the Phoenixes to go ahead and harass, so that might, you know, help him out. It doesn't have to be a full-on engagement, just really good harassment, taking a lot of probes, dealing a lot of, you know, mental damage. And, you know, timing damage, because even if you don't take that many probes, but they're going this way and that with their units, and they're messing up, and their keys get, or their hands get all messed up on the keyboard, that's still well worth it. But as you can see, he's actually doing tons of probe damage with 5 Phoenixes. We shall count how many that is. Oh my god, that is 10 kills from those Phoenixes. That's, yeah, those 5 Phoenixes did a lot. Obviously, they do a lot of damage to light, so that explains it, and the fact that there's just so many, really. He's also getting a 6th one. I'm surprised if he gets any more. They kind of become more useless the farther that it goes on and the more that you get. So, as you can see, he actually has stopped. He's now getting a Robo, but that's not going to be in time. If he can hold, if he can buy time with the Sentries, then he will have time to get his own Immortal, which would really help him out, because there's a lot of Stalkers in this composition. But another thing is that aBstract pushing here is going to be really dangerous. Besides the force fields potentially cutting him in half, you also have the threat of the Phoenixes picking up your key units, such as your Sentries and your Stalkers. 2 force fields, actually, I'm pretty sure that was from aBstract, not really doing a lot. And we're going to see how Auryx's force fields of his own are going to be, and they are not coming down right now. Actually, force fields from aBstract coming down, finally some from Aurex coming down as well. Finally, they actually cut off the units, and he picks up the Immortal. Actually, a really nice cutoff right there. The rocks were taken down, and of course, this pylon can see on the high ground right now. And the Zealot's actually doing tons of damage, getting up in the faces of the Stalkers. And there's just so much from aBstract right now. The Phoenixes being almost dead right now. They can pick up 5 Stalkers at a time, but then they could be targeted by the other Stalkers. So he's going to have to give up the Nexus, unfortunately. And I'm going to have to say I kind of blame those force fields. They were really late. aBstract did a good job of like pushing the Sentries away with their own force fields, but Auryx's Sentries were really far behind. And of course, once he got any high ground vision right here, which he already had because of the Observer, he could warp in here, but still, I felt like too much stuff got up there. And there's too much damage down in the first act of this battle, and now he's paying for it. Phoenixes are now being killed. Probes being pulled off the line. The probes might be enough. Stalker's not that great against probes, especially if they get a surround, but there's so few units. An Immortal pops out. This could really help out, actually. Just tons and tons of damage to Stalkers, and the Zealots getting up on the faces also really helps out. But the matter of the fact is that the Nexus is down, so what can Aurex do to come back from this? He's down by 23 supply. His Immortal's actually looking very, very nice, very healthy. Hasn't lost any shields whatsoever. There's a cannon here for some reason. That's really interesting. Did I miss something? There's no Phoenixes and there's no DTs, so he must have scouted something that told him to be really wary. But it ended up helping him right there anyway, so congratulations to that cannon for feeling really useful. Getting 2 kills, yay. Forge actually not having any upgrades whatsoever, so just seems to be for the cannon. It's a little interesting, but as you can see, Aurex has pushed the attack back. aBstract lost a lot of units in there. He actually was unable to get away with any units, but the thing is that his economy is great. He lost 10 probes at the beginning, yeah, but it's 52 probes to 16 because Aurex had to pull them to repel the attack, and it's going to be pretty much impossible for Aurex to come back. His Phoenixes could do a lot of damage left unchecked. There's no Forge for aBstract, so obviously no cannons in his mineral lines, so the Phoenixes could come by, backstab, kill probably all the probes by the time the Stalkers are warped in, if Aurex gets lucky on the warping timings. But this attack coming at the front, you know, if he has force fields, Aurex that is, then he can hold it off indefinitely because aBstract has just not gotten anything to break it yet, Colossi or Archons, so he could hold the ramp for as long as he wants. But the thing is that eventually aBstract's going to be like, oh, you know what I can do? I can get something that breaks that, and that'd be really useful, which he should be thinking about right about now, because he feels great, you know, denying that Nexus. He is like, alright, you have 1 Nexus, you're running out of mining right now, like, what are you really gonna do? But he really doesn't want to drag on the game for longer than it really needs to be, with the Phoenixes flying in the air and, you know, constantly endangering his probe line. But, you know, even if he doesn't want to build something that breaks the ramp, he's fine. He could play the patient game if he really wanted to. Not let him down the ramp. 2 Immortals is a little scary, but he has 1 Immortal of his own. No more on the way, though, so that's a little interesting. Saving up his gas, I suppose. And he's going to have 3 in a minute, but the thing is now, you know, if Aurex wants to come down, aBstract's force fields are now really useful. Oh my gosh. Manor Nexus. Oh, what a BM way to end the game. Oh, that's actually a really cool graphic. Okay, well, the Phoenix is going to die right now, as you can see. He tries to get the sentries, which might have been worth it, but yeah. Mana Nexus is thrown down, you kind of know you're dead at that point. But it's a good game by both players. Unfortunately, Aurex just kind of going with that. I feel like he messed up the attack a little bit, just not having his units in the correct position. He wanted to have them as far back as possible so that no, like, unnecessary damage could hit them, but then aBstract's force fields are really, you know, kind of good. They pushed back the sentries long enough for some units to get up the ramp. The force fields actually didn't hit the bottom of the ramp, so you had them see the high ground even without the help of the observer. And yeah, after that, he was already on like thin ice because he went that Phoenix build. That messing up that engagement really, really hurt him.